Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for July 17th through the 23rd, 2023. So, before we begin, I'd just like to first welcome and thank everyone who is returning to this weekly series, and to also welcome anyone who might be new to our Angelic Wisdom community. Just a few reminders as we begin. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe, select the all notification bell, like, dislike, and leave comments. If you would like to get in touch with me for an angel reading, you can go to my current website, theangelschool.com/services. Also, if you just like to make a contribution to my channel in the form of a donation, you can select my PayPal me link, which you can find in the description area as well. So all the links that I will refer to will be below this video in the description area. Also, if you haven't checked out the monthly general angel reading, that link I will put as well. That should be the first one you see. And for my monthly angel scopes for each zodiac sign, the astrological signs, you can go to my community board here on YouTube, or my Facebook page, or my Twitter account, and all those links are below to find those 12 videos. Okay. All right. So let's take a deep breath. And just allow yourself to relax, and to allow your mind to just be focused on your breathing. And as you breathe, just release anything that is no longer serving you. And they write for you just to focus as you breathe on love. Focus on the things, focus on the love that you have in your life. People who have nurtured you, encouraged you, and that you have deep bonds with. The people that you consider a part of your tribe, that understand you, that think about you, that consider you and respect you. Perhaps there are people that you are responsible for, that you love unconditionally. And just allow yourself to let go of the ugly, some of the ugly aspects of being in relationships, whether they be in a professional or personal capacity. And let go of beliefs that you are not good enough, or that you need to be enough. letting go of the anxiety, the extra pressure that you're putting on yourself to have love in your life or to be loving towards others, in the sense that maybe you wonder if you're doing it right. Let these kinds of thoughts and ideas, let them go. Don't even try to wrestle with them. Don't try to figure them out or understand that way of thinking and believing. Know that you're capable for everything, for every opportunity that comes to you, and that you're ready, even if you don't feel prepared. Know that who you are in this moment is good enough, is accurate to whatever is needed to help others continue along their journey. That you never show up out of cast, or you don't show up inappropriately. You're always who you need to be and should be in order for others to have the life opportunities and experiences that are required to help them at pivotal points in their life. That none of us are meant to be perfect. We're imperfectly perfect. Like a puzzle piece that has its own shape, and yet it fits into the divine plan. You can't be any other shape than what you are already. And that shape changes and shifts and adjusts as you live the best you can, as you love the best you can. But know that whatever shape your piece of the puzzle is, that when the universal laws bring you together with others, that all of your pieces will be a vibrational match, which means that no matter how cantankerous or how irritating or how incredibly amazing your connection and your coming together might be, all the pieces fit the way they need to together so that you can occupy that time and space for each and every one of you to receive the blessings, the rewards, and the lessons and the healing that is required for each of you to move forward, changed and evolved better. When it's time to move, the pieces will no longer fit, and you find yourself shifting around until you find that new place or position and connections where a whole new arrangement of pieces come together to make a perfect match for the perfect understanding, experience, healing. So understand that you're always where you need to be right now, wherever you are. If in your heart you're feeling any resistance to where you are right now and what you have going on in your life, don't fight with it. But look through a higher lens of your I am presence and see unconditionally who you are and what these relationships are causing you to become as a result. Acknowledge where you need to heal. Acknowledge where you have come to teach. Acknowledge where you have just come to be, to network. But know first and foremost that you are safe. There's no place that you cannot be safe. There's no place where you are, where you have arrived, where you will not be safe. You just have to embrace the gifts that are within that moment and that opportunity. And then when it's time for you to move forward, recognize that this situation is no longer serving any of you, and that your time is now to take what you've gathered amongst you and to spread it elsewhere. It's all natural change, growing, pain, love, all of our humanity. It's natural. It's not, we have nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing that you need to hold against another. When you hold something, you hold yourself back from evolving, from healing, from learning, and from loving and being loved. We are most certainly in very difficult times as we're finding so much to see that makes it difficult to practice love. But it is not just that what you see is about what's going on outside of you. What we see is a reflection of us collectively and individually. It is there, all chaotic and raunchy and etc., because it needs love to heal it. It needs, it's time for us, it's ready and preparing us to heal collectively and individually. And nothing, no challenge, such as the challenges that we are seeing today across the world, none of these challenges are not a perfect match to where we need to be in order to resolve it together, in order to heal it together. So if you get up every day and you turn on the news, or you go into your workplace, or you greet your loved ones, and you want to strangle them or complain about it, anything but acknowledge that you've been called here and you volunteered to be here in order to be of service to the ascension and healing of our planet. And so there is within you the ability to shift, to elevate these things. And the most simplest but most powerful form of changing the things that we see that need to be reconciled is to heal, change yourself, clear, no longer holding on to anything. Because through the internal workings of our spiritual bond is the power to influence it all. That the way of peace first is initiated through the individual reclaiming their own peace, prosperity, and love. One person at a time has the incredible ability to shift the entire world. But if each and every one of us, as we do this in the outer world, we affect the people in our lives, in our communities. And as they are affected by this, they affect others, and so on, and so on, and so on. It's very hard in a world where we're constantly told that we need to be better. And we tell it in such a way that we give each other the impression that we're not good enough for them or for us. And if we're not good enough, we criticize, we hurt. And it makes it that more difficult to do the hardest thing of all, to change yourself, to love yourself, to honor your truth, to hold peace at the center of every decision that you make. All right, so let's take a look and see which archangel you'll be working with for this week. And it's Archangel Purlimiek. And it says, let nature soothe you. Serve the nature kingdom. I always feel guilty about when I see this card because I feel like it's like, get outside, Barrymore. and let us connect with you, right? And especially like when it's hot like this, you want to be out, but at the same time, you don't want to be out. Um, and it's a message that we are going through so many shifts, and this is not the easiest of times for many of us. We're probably all feeling all kinds of things that we have suppressed over many years of our lives. We've just found ways of coping and covering it up and patching it up and figuring out how to make it look as best we can, and then we just go on. But now it's not possible for that to just be good enough. We're not, there's something inside of us that's not allowing us to settle any longer, to really make changes in our lives that will allow us and give us the opportunity and space to deal with these things, to create more of a balance in our lives so that we don't have to stuff down things anymore. They keep writing the word love, and they're writing the word cafe, which is my symbol for networking. And I feel like with these two words together, that it's really important for everybody to spend more time or incorporate more, um, I want to say, more time with our loved ones, the people that we appreciate, the people that respect us and love us, right? We need we need relationship for this very purpose, because it reminds us that we're not supposed to do it all by ourselves. And yet, we have the strength to do so, but it does not mean that you should just because you could. As if it wears us down if we do everything on our own, if we take care of ourselves alone, if we're the only one who ever says good job. It's not possible for us to maintain a sort of spiritual clarity and wholesomeness with just our own voice or acknowledgement. We need to share this responsibility through this perfect exchange of being loved and loving others, encouraging and being encouraged, respecting and being respected, being open hearted. It's like we need to get back to our our true nature and bring a sort of a balance to our perspective and the way that we live our lives, making sure that we are sort of nurturing these various um, parts of us that allow us to keep moving together harmoniously. When I see this card, not only it reminds us that we also have to take care of our environments. And if we don't, if we walk past our natural environments and not love them enough, respect them enough, just like we're talking about with our relationships with and connections with humans, if we don't have bonds with animals and nature, then we don't take care of it. We don't take care, we neglect each other, we neglect nature, we neglect the care of all of the other species that inhabit the planet. And then we don't receive the benefits of nurturing them. Going out in nature is healing. It's healing for your body's algorithm as well as for the pleasure of your soul. It helps to realign you with spirit, mind, and body. It helps to align all of these things with who you truly are and the essence of our humanity. So the next time you're feeling a little bit off, whether it's energy, whether you're irritated or whatever, or you're just feeling a little loopy, consider that there's an imbalance across the board of your life and these various areas of your life, that there is neglect and that there's too much focus or emphasis on one component like ambition or success. And I can pretty much guarantee, because of the time that we're living in and because of the technologies that have interfered in those connections, that we are not nurturing our relationships with those that we love, that we keep putting off that person that keeps coming to your mind because you're too busy, or you keep putting off a little time for relaxation, that day at the beach, that day at the park, that day to just have fun or to celebrate. That's why we have to make sure, and this is really what the soul economy is all about, is there's so many parts that are simple acts, but we can't even make time for them because we're consumers, and it's sort of a kind of modern day slavery. You work, then you spend it all and give it back to the people who paid you, or the people who are the owners of all of these businesses where they make all of the money and their employers earn so little. And all we have time is for this economy, working, paying out bills, feeling compelled to spend beyond what your soul economy's needs are. And we're like robots. We're ignoring all the pleasures of life, loving and being loved and enjoying the good earth and caring for, and making sure that these things that feed our souls, that bless our souls with its beauty and with its just essence, right? We missed out on this. And this, what we are, cannot function without having a little bit of everything else. There's nothing wrong with buying things or working or any of this, but we have to make sure that it's balanced. And in some ways, we have to be willing to, say when it's not, or somebody is um, forcing that imbalance upon you. That's when people strike and say, hey, no. And sometimes we have to be strike on just being consumers. We don't need everything they're telling us that we need to buy. All the subscriptions that, yeah, I won't even go into that. But so the energy of the beginning of this week is the Sun card. And just looking at this card, not even thinking about what it means, but seeing this child lit up, enjoying the world, seeing just filled with joy, almost like just seeing this whole field to just run and play in. And how many of you wake up any day of the week and feel like the life you have set up is one where you get to play, you get to do, you get to do all the things that you enjoy doing. You're doing the things that just give you tremendous pleasure. Now, just because the circumstances aren't right, as they were saying before, because we're always where we need to be, that doesn't mean that you have to develop an attitude that is like you're missing out. You can shift your perspective. And whether this is something that you enjoy or not, you can focus in such a way that you do things in a way that it gives you pleasure, that you find more enjoyment out of it. Because we are the creators of our reality. It's never about what stuff is the physical stuff that's there. It's about how you perceive it. Do you see it as beautiful? Or can you focus in a way that you turn certain aspects of it into beauty because of how you're approaching it and maybe what your goal or your mission is? We can be in a world of chaos and we can find meaning, meaning we find our purpose, why we're there. And when we turn on our light, you create joy for others and for yourself. It says happiness, it says joy and happiness shine from your soul. And that's the whole point. What you don't see out there has nothing to do with what you can shine from within. Because what you're experiencing out there is based on what you have decided to shine from within. All right, let's take a look at the card for the middle of the week. Okay, so we have the Knight of Wands, and it says, seize the day. And what we see here is more of this fire energy, right? And we see here this person is someone who who always shows up um, to serve. They're they may be kind of hyped up on it a little bit, like playing the hero, but the Knight of Wands represents someone who's passionate about whatever it is they're doing. And that's the energy I was getting from the Sun card, is that we have the ability to turn on our passions. Um, it's almost a sense of rolling up your sleeves and kind of getting in there. Whenever the Knight of Wands sees an issue or crisis, immediately their sense of purpose, it just turns on inside of them. And it doesn't need to be a crisis, but if you're unhappy in something that some area of your life, you can fix it. You can course correct. You can make those simple changes. They don't need to be enormous at first, but just simple changes to sort of salvage your life in some way, claiming just a little small portion of it, even if the situation doesn't allow right immediately at this point for you to just really alter it, but just a portion of it, and you knowing that you've done that makes a difference for you, makes a difference for someone else and the people you're working with. You can turn on a light within yourself and then turn on a light for everybody else, even if it's not everything that everybody wants. I keep saying this word responsible in a sense that no matter how challenging things are right now, we are still all responsible for bringing a piece of light from within and shining it onto others and to the situation. To completely just sort of claim victim and not offer anything, that underestimates who you truly are. And it will only increase whatever suffering you're going through or having. It will only increase it. So even if you just feel powerless, find a way to turn on a spark of light within you. Find a, a little bit of meaning and purpose in the situation for yourself. And just work it until you can truly work. All right. Oh, another major arcana card. So we have the Chariot. And all of this energy here seems to just be like a need to motivate, like motivation, right? Just, it almost, these cards just sort of feel like, okay, yeah, tough times, but you can do it, right? And just focus on one thing. That even if it's a small, tiny thing, focus on it. Invest yourself in it with your happiness and joy. It might feel like all you can do is squeeze out just a little eke of hope, a little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness. But the idea here is work it. Just focus on it and work it until it is working for you. Don't give up. It gives me a sense that I was feeling like this really heaviness in my heart when I was meditating and preparing for this reading. And I remember seeing a naked behind, and it was a large, and so it just gave me a sense of being weighted down under a lot of emotional stress and pressures, and just not really um, finding fulfillment right now. It's a very difficult and stressful struggle to just to that sense, that kind of heaviness in the heart and in the day. But they want you to not give up. They want you to keep. You have a mission. You have a goal, and it may not be clear to you at all. And that might be the part that depresses you the most. But they want you to know to keep going on whatever you have, even if you feel like you just have you only have your reserves to work with now. Well, that's not true. But if that's what you believe, then believe the reserves are there and keep trying your best to offer something that will help others and that will help you to feel like you're bringing a little bit of light into the world, into your world. And it says, where there's a will, there's a way. And I'll never forget my Aunt Loretta, that she passed this year. And I think I wrote about it recently. And I got my shoestring, two string, my my shoestring tied in a knot. And I don't know where we're about to go somewhere. And I just couldn't. I was like, oh my goodness, And it was, to me at that point, I was probably in high school or junior high school, so stressful. And I just kept, and it was becoming really frustrating. And I think it's that kind of frustration that we're feeling right now with the world, with it all, with ourselves. And we don't know how to get we don't know, we're in a knot and we don't know how to get it out. We don't even know what the knot's about, which is even worse. At least I could see the knot tied in my shoestring. And my aunt could see, she could just see from that outside perspective just how like defeated I was becoming. And that's, you know, not been, it's something that sometimes gets to be easier and easier, right? Like sometimes it's easy to feel defeated. Um, and that's when she said these words to me. She said, where there's a will, there's a way. And what she meant was not just my will, but she meant the divine will. And if you think about it that way, where there's a will, meaning there is, divine will always exists. Will then always be a way. And this is not the time to give up. I felt it for sure about many things. Um, but this is not the time to give up. This is, yes, this is the hard work. This is the hard work our souls came to do because we knew we could do it. Lady Gaia, when she invited us, knew that we could do it, or we wouldn't have been asked to come here. That this world, that we can feel so defeated by everything that's going on in this world, or we just feel like our lives is just not amounting to anything. And why bother? But you are bothered. And that is the reason, that reason alone, that you are bothered, that you are not, that you're bothered by what you're bothered about, that you're bothered by yourself, by you know that you can do better. Because you're bothered, it means that somehow all of that power and light within you has been ignored, neglected. And this is why we need to get back to our true nature, to get in touch with nature, who helps us to remember our nature, not just our spiritual nature, but it also helps us to remember our human nature. Because this planet, although you are a different species than a tree or the grass or the soil, but this planet, like puzzle pieces, we were made for each other. This planet was made for us, and we were made for this planet. We might believe that the planet doesn't need humans, but it does. And it never would think otherwise because it accepts the plants and the animals, they accept their relationship with one another and with us. We don't. We don't accept it because we don't first respect it. And in not doing so, we disrespect and cannot accept ourselves. So we spend all this energy alone inside our heads, totally unable to accept what we perceive are all these imperfections because of an idea that we have of perfection. But a long time ago, the angels, very early in their introduction with me, said, because I was struggling even more probably now, and that's probably feels like over the time period, like not much of a shift, but it has been. And with who I was, especially as a gay man, just struggling with that. Struggle's not over, but definitely struggling with, and it, the shame, the guilt, and it was when they said to me, it is in your imperfections that you are a perfection, which meant that we're imperfectly perfect. Just like every puzzle piece, every shape, every puzzle has its own shape. And all of us, the, the planet, the trees, the flowers, the rivers, all of it's a puzzle. Your soul, your body, it's all imperfect, imperfectly perfect because we're meant to fit together. It's a world of imperfection that is perfectly in alignment with one another. And so our relationship and is important because it shows us when we are neglecting and when we're where we need to nurture better. All right, so let's just take a look at the card I've already pulled from the top of the deck. So the Hangman, and it says, when surrender happens, suffering is released. And I can tell you, I've been talking to you about this practice. It has been so invaluable to me in my life. The things that I had to go through this year, in the last couple of months, the early part of this year, really helped me to understand that. And so if things are feeling like you're just being hung up, like you just can't move on, it's because you're not accepting the beautiful perfection of this imperfect opportunity. The rewards are within the imperfection of this moment. There are things that you need to see. You need to understand that your light and your joy and happiness shines from the inside out, not from the outside in. And when you do, you'll be ready to move forward. You'll be ready for whatever it is that you deserve and you desire. You'll be in a place that you'll be able to receive it. You'll be able to enjoy it. And you'll be able to maintain its balance. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and have a beautiful week. God bless you.